6:45, we're going to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, all are present this evening except for Bridget. Next on our agenda is the approval of the city council agenda. I would like to add one item to it, and that would be the naming of the task force, the infrastructure task force.
I have that on the amended agenda that I sent out.
Where is that?
There's an amended copy I put on your desk. It's highlighted, but maybe
Oh.
number 6.
Number 6. Ah, yes, I'm working off the old copy. Thank you. Then I don't need to amend anything.
What? I have an agenda that doesn't have that on it. Oh, do I have an
There's a
amended
new
agenda?
amend one.
Yep.
All right, okay, so we're off the amended agenda, got it, okay. I forgot, what is this material here? I forgot what this is.
Also, do we have to read?
Overrated.
All right, people. Are there any additions? Isley, Jenkins, Kathy? No?
I'll move to approve the amended agenda of the regular meeting of the city council.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. I'd like to open the public forum. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public forum. We don't have any presentations this evening, and we're on to the consent agenda.
I guess I had a couple questions about the treasurer's report that I didn't manage to send in advance. So let's just pull that out for a question or two.
The treasurer's report?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda with the treasurer's report pulled out?
So moved, Kathy.
Second?
Second. Ryan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda is approved.
Did we say, do we vote? Okay, do we vote? Do we all say aye?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
it's okay.
So I guess it was 3 yeses and 1 abstain? Like,
It's fine, I just am not with it. Just write 3 yeses and 1 not with it.
this is paper, Ryan.
Okay, we're on to staff reports. Mr. Hildebrand?
One thing I had is, we had a check to add to the, for approval, that was an invoice to USS Minnesota 1MT LC. What is it? Looking at her writing. Yeah. 1MT LLC. Solar Energy. That Treese had missed an invoice. It needs to be paid right away. So that would be a check in the amount of $2,464.79.
The explanation on that one is they changed their billing procedure, and they were doing it electronically.
Correct.
So she didn't open it. So that's for February, March, and April.
Oh.
Maybe May too, right? February,
Correct.
March, April, May.
Correct.
That's why it's so large.
Which I guess I could actually go with the discussion later with the bills and such. So the other one is met with Marcia today, going through some forms to update for reporting. What we've discussed is if we could, obviously, we're trying to get back on schedule with having a work session. She would actually be available on June 23rd, I believe, and, which is a Monday. Curious, just want to make sure that worked for everybody.
It's a Monday night, yeah.
No. Not for me. I don't know if Bridget will be back by then either.
She'll be here.
She will be.
What about Tuesday? No.
The 24th?
That could, I don't think that worked with her schedule.
Can't be next Tuesday because we have the Parks Committee meeting.
Correct. No, I mean, the 24th was the Tuesday I was suggesting, but the she had the 23rd, or the other one was possibly the 30th.
Can't do that one either.
Okay. Are others available?
Mm-hmm. I
What
can.
date
The
20.
23rd,
of June?
correct?
Yeah, that'll be okay.
It's trade show season, I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Sure.
Are you okay?
Yeah, should be,
What time works for everybody?
Doesn't matter.
Say at 6 o'clock or
6 sounds
Six.
fine.
6:30.
6:30?
6:30.
6:30?
6 is a little
A little early for you.
early, yeah.
Okay.
Is that how we get 6:45?
6:30 on
Okay.
June
6:37.
23rd.
6:37. Nice.
Okay. I will let her know, and I have a few other things to talk about, so I'll send out an agenda.
Okay,
That's all I have.
all right, thank you. Marcus?
Evening, Council. Not a whole lot to report on the lift station, other than they pushed the start date back to July 10th.
What was the reason?
Staffing issues.
Just the contractor's own
Yeah.
internal
Yep.
shenanigans? Okay.
Yep, I think it's for the best anyways for how wet June's been so far. I think July hopefully will be a little bit drier anyways.
To make our parade easier.
Teresa said the same thing. So, otherwise, they did contact me yesterday about getting a check that you guys will see in the July council meeting for the materials of the pump since they did the delay. So you'll see that in July. The work might be started by then. It's hard to say, but otherwise. And we're cleared to start pulling money at any point, but just a refresher, so it, Bolemink and Henches will get the documents all prepped and ready. They'll go on the council packet. We'll have a discussion here at council meetings, if there's any yays or nays, and then should it get approved, then it goes to the EPA as well, and then that whole chain.
Okay.
So.
We've still been in contact. Are you now on the contact list for the EPA too, Scott?
Yeah, yeah. We actually did get a new, or getting a new rep, because,
The shakeups.
yeah, I think this is the third person we'll be getting. I can't remember her name off the
Alyssa?
top. Alyssa, thank you. Just put in her time as of last week, so we're pretty much past all that stuff, so it's kind of in the free and clear, but
Wait, can you, we're getting a different,
for the grant, the EPA grant, they have a person designated to go to for questions.
ERP's over, so we should be good.
Yeah, yeah.
Deferred resignation program, it was through June 1st. So
Oh.
we shouldn't be losing any more employees.
Thank you.
Is there still a possibility that they could not pay our claim when we're done?
From my understanding, I mean, as soon as that first request comes in, I mean, they pay their share right away. So the money's already been set aside and cleared, so, yep. Any other questions for the lift station stuff? Okay, so we did get quotes back for 2025 project. this will look a little higher than what we talked about at last month's because I did add the pothole repair for the citywide. So I think I was at 105,000 and like looking at bituminous roadways, they'd be at 100,000, so slightly lower. I did get feedback from, I guess, between the two quotes, bituminous roadways is obviously the low. And I did get feedback from them that next year, as far as the citywide pothole repairs go, that either doing a walkthrough with each contractor beforehand of where, like, what we'd be looking at for repairs, or marking them out beforehand would be beneficial, or a longer grace period. So in the contract, we requested that if it gets awarded tonight, they'd have 30 days to get the potholes repaired in the city. So for a lot of contractors, that's a tighter window. So prices came in maybe a little higher than what I would expect for that, but for everything else, it was pretty much in line. So it'd be my recommendation to go with the low bituminous roadways, as long as we don't see.
Do you think they boosted up the numbers for lack of knowledge of how many potholes they were doing, or like, any reason why you think that part was higher?
I think it's a combination of that and the short timeline, because
Can we, sorry,
You mean like the timeline for submitting the RFP?
a third,
or
no,
the-
of just 30 days until they
Oh.
can, yeah.
could we extend out the timeline and get them to bring down their price?
We could ask them.
Might be
Yeah.
worth doing.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
I,
it doesn't seem like, I don't hear people complaining about the potholes too much. Like, it seems to me like if it were 60 days instead of 30,
yeah,
that would be.
I could ask them to see if
would
they'd
be worth saving a few
willing,
bucks.
if they'd be willing to drop their price down a little bit, but
And how much would be a little bit? A few $100 or?
I don't know.
Squeeze them, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And then can you, just for the sake of having it on the video, which portion of the roads are we doing this time?
Yeah, so it's the remainder of that cul-de-sac from where we ended at Oak Ridge Drive around, and then it is that little stub to the south. I keep wanting to say it's Oak Hill, but it's not. It's,
It's not here anymore.
yeah.
It's in your desk.
It completes that.
5-0, no, it's not, is it, it's not 5-0, because that was done last year. Oak Ridge Drive and Oak Hill Court?
Oakview.
Oakview.
Yep.
So what do we need to do tonight? It looks like the contract is prepared upon approval of the quote.
Yep, so if council's okay with the quotes and okay moving forward, budget-wise, we're looking okay, then tonight we would approve the low quote, or unless if you guys have any reason why we shouldn't award the low quote. And then tomorrow, I will be sending out the contract to the company awarded, Bituminous Roadways. They'll sign it, and then it'll go to the city to get the last signature.
And so is there going to be an opportunity to review the contract?
As far
For
as
me to
what-
review the contract?
I can send it to you, yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'd like to have a council meeting to approve the contract itself if we can, even if that's a special meeting. Just partly because I want to make sure we don't have the issues that we did in the past with the stuff that we were responsible for fixing the errors with the runoff up there. So,
Okay.
It's fairly close to that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I just think it would be worth just,
I sent it to Alan before sending it off, and he had a couple changes, but
You can get a swing at it on consent, and if you have questions, that's
I
fine.
think that
Yeah.
would be good, so.
And then this one is also going to be correcting the issue from the last one.
Yep, so we'd be doing the ditching, which will be kind of be a field fit kind of ordeal, working with the contractor and the utility companies side by side.
How big are the ditches supposed to be?
About that deep, and then it kind of varies depending on, like, as we're going down a little bit, and then it kind of depends on if we're coming in at a steeper grade, we'll have to go back a little ways, but no, I mean, it'll be no wider than 12 feet from edge of road to where we stop grading.
Are we then covering replacement of grass and such?
Yep, that's all in here already. Yep.
Okay. And then we are marking utilities and all that to make sure we're not hitting anything, right?
Yep. Yep.
Just making sure.
Yep.
That's in the contract.
Oh, good.
The hardest part is the irrigation. So I'll coordinate with the homeowners that we're directly affecting there, just to see if they have irrigation or whatnot. But usually irrigation, either relocations or repairs are on the homeowner typically. It's hard for, if the utility companies don't locate in it, it's hard to require a contractor to locate it themselves.
Okay, so we're going to confirm with the homeowners.
Gonna
If they
confirm
say,
first,
They
yes.
do have it, we're going to do that, right? We're not gonna make them pay for
Well,
locating their own.
I guess the way I would recommend is that we ask them to relocate the irrigation outside of the right of way, or at least mark it so we can try to avoid it. But
Okay.
Any other questions? Can we get a motion to accept the quote from Bituminous Roadways?
Well, hold on. Have you worked with this company before?
they were here last
This is-
summer.
They did
This
last,
is the last
that's the
time?
last one.
Yep, and I've had them on a few other projects too. Yeah.
Very reputable.
Yep.
Okay.
Work they did was lovely, it just made no way for water to run off. It was so pretty.
It was great, except for that one thing.
Well, like, there was no pebbles or anything anymore to divert water out of the area.
Okay.
Motion?
Oh, sorry, I'll do the motion to approve Bitmus Roadways, Inc. And to offer or ask if we extend the time frame to 60 days, if that would reduce the pothole repair portion.
Second.
I have a question. Am I voting to approve a contract that's not in front of me?
I think the vote was to accept the quote.
Is it to accept the quote or approve the contract?
I thought the motion was to accept the quote.
Is there a contract involved that's gonna go through the council later? Or am I voting, once I vote on this, if I vote yes, does that authorize the mayor to sign the contract?
What was the original motion? All I heard was accepting the quote.
I accept that. That was the motion, to accept the
Accept the
quote from
quote.
Bituminous.
So if you want to make a friendly amendment and bring a contract back to council for approval?
I would make that amendment and bring the contract back to council for approval.
I'll accept the amendments, so I'm good with that.
So one follow-up question to that 30 days, is that going to start upon,
We can call a
Next
special,
council meeting?
call a special meeting if we need to, in my
It's
view,
done, so
to look at the contract, so.
If they change the price, I'd like to know what that is, too. That would be nice, so.
You can hit it at your workshop if you have to, just
Yeah.
agenda it.
We can just notice it up.
yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
you
have
Did
to
the seconder,
second
the
quote
seconder,
With the amendment, so,
then the seconder has to accept the amendment as well.
I accept the amendment.
There we go. Okay.
okay.
Now we can.
Now you're good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks for the trouble, guys. So,
So if you have the contract, could you just send it via email?
Yeah, I can send the draft one. I think when I marked it up, it went back to Marcus, and so the final one will have all the numbers in there, so it's probably best to wait for the final iteration of it.
Okay.
Yeah, with quotes, you can be either mail or email. It's whatever the council prefers. With bids, it has to be in paper,
Right.
and that has to be original signatures and stuff.
So whenever it gets done, just send along.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
Okay, we have city business action items.
I believe Joseph is here for the last item, if I were guessing.
I guess, is Marcus leaving?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Oh, okay.
You need him?
Marcus, could we just do this? I have a couple questions about the engineering expenses on the treasurer's report. Could we just do that now and let you go home?
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Why don't you just tell everyone what we're doing?
So I had pulled the treasurer's report out of the consent agenda. And the questions I want to ask relate to the billing on the treasurer's report. I don't know if you can help us or not, but I'm looking down at page, I thought it was 15 on here, where there's, oh, I thought it was 15, otherwise I think it's on 12, where there's general fund engineering expense for 6350, 50, and then there's 2025 street improvement recommendations for 107250. And I was just wondering, yeah, and so here with respect to the 635050, that says engineering consulting, open house meet and prep, meet with council members, estimate water main. Is that all spending on water main revisions? Are you, and I don't know if you know, Marcus, but I was just wondering about that 6350 and then the remaining $1,000 or something.
You're looking at page 12, you said?
It's page 15 is the place where you can kind of see what it says. It's the last one on page 15. May 30th, 2025, Bolton and Mink, Inc. Engineering consulting, reopen house meet and prep, meet with council members and estimate water main. I don't know that you're not necessarily going to know that right off the top of your head, but
Yeah, off the top of my head, I'm not gonna be able to answer
Okay.
without looking at, I guess, our individual invoices.
it's just, I guess I was a little surprised to see that we'd gone through. Does that seem like,
If we want, we can just not approve it.
Without-
We can discuss
oh, I think,
once I look at it. But
yeah, maybe well, I don't think anybody's is suggesting you didn't bill appropriately or that, I was just wondering, is that a reasonable estimate of the engineering expense so far? Because you know probably how much you've worked roughly. Is that a reasonable estimate of the water main engineering expense so far?
is which dollar amount? I
What's
guess.
that?
To which dollar amount?
The 635050.
Probably, I guess.
Probably.
Again,
Okay. Okay, so we probably need to kind of watch that. Okay, all right.
But if we want, we can, I mean,
It might be worth just,
we're not in any rush to get paid either, so if
I
we
know
want
you're
to pull it
not.
off-
Well, I guess I don't think it's an issue of paying you. I guess we authorized 5,000 for that, and I guess it looks like we might be just kind of pushing our limit there a little bit, so we probably should understand kind of where we're at there, maybe, but probably not right this second. Anyway, I think I've beat this to death.
Well, if Marcus is willing just to pull it off and we can review it later, what's the,
Well, that's fine,
What's the
yeah.
harm in it?
Then let's pull it out and have him review it. That's not a bad
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, I think that's reasonable. And if that's your suggestion, Marcus, I think that's.
Yeah,
Might be a good workshop to just go through the individual invoices there.
Okay,
There's no urgency.
yeah.
Payroll still being met.
it's not my problem, it's payroll, so.
Well, it could become your problem real fast, having worked for an employer in that situation once.
You're not gonna go back to the office and be like, what'd you do?
Ryan, just email, if you could just email me.
I'll send you
questions, and
a
then I'll-
question or
and then
two.
I'll,
Let's do this,
Follow up.
not do this online anymore, but yeah, thank you. So nothing's personal, so, okay. All right, well, I will move to accept and approve the treasurer's report with the exception of the May 30th charge of $6,350.50 to Bolton and Mink.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right. Thank you again,
Anything else?
Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you.
Now you can go.
So let's move 6 up to the beginning then, and we can, 6 is discussion and possible direction regarding the water main evaluation task force. Scott, do you want to speak to this, or would you like me to?
You're fine. We've submitted all the applications. I believe we ended up with 9. There's also a proposed, I guess, resolution that Mayor drafted that, if he wishes to approve.
You want it on the overhead?
Matt?
I guess, do you want to?
So, council, we received 9 applicants. Are we okay with having 9 on the task force? Or do you have other ideas?
It's fine to me.
I think the more the merrier.
I mean,
All right.
Maybe
I
you
assume
want-
they can set up their own groups of who's in charge and all that good stuff
Well,
anyway,
it's
so.
pretty well laid out.
in the
In
document.
fact, I've made packets for all of them, starting with the purpose of the task force, which is evaluating the potential replacement of water mains in the city of Birchwood Village. Did you get that? Anyway, it goes through and talks about open meeting requirements, meetings and timeline, which is 2 meetings in June, and then an additional meeting to set up a report, to develop a report for council. The procedure also is laid out and how the task force will be interacting with the city engineer. And with the approval of the 9 applicants, tomorrow, all the information will be available for them to begin studying. And so I have paper packets for them, and as well as a digital packet that will go out tomorrow.
Did we determine a time frame for when we want information back?
Yes, before the July council meeting, because we need to move on with budgeting, so.
Okay.
So I'm suggesting that the first meeting, if we could just set that up, and if there's like a large number that can't make it, they can reschedule amongst themselves. But just to get it rolling, because I don't want them to run out of time either. I was thinking like next June 19th, a Thursday evening. Does that, since we have one person here, does that work for you? Sure. Okay, can we, what time, 6 or 7? 7? 6:30. Okay, so let's just establish that tentatively as their first meeting. That's June 19th at 6:30. And then they can go from there. Does anybody have any questions?
I guess I'm fine with the resolution, but I also wrote the resolution. I would just, I don't know, do we decide 9 people was appropriate? That's fine. I've seen task forces of roughly that size work.
It's a lot of information to go through, so if people,
The
they
problem,
delegate,
yeah.
I mean, if they are totally inefficient at 9, we can always whittle it down if we absolutely need to at the next meeting, if it's.
Well, what you'll get probably is 7 or 6, and 2 or 3 will kind of find something else to do and just won't, not, so then you're maybe to a reasonable number, but,
that's
you know, if they need a little more time, we can always extend it, so.
Mm-hmm.
And just thank yous to the people who have applied here,
right,
too,
thank
so.
you. It's a lot to go through, so, well,
June 19th is a federal holiday. Is
well,
that,
you're right, we
is that-
talked about that, didn't we?
is that okay for them to have a meeting on a federal holiday?
Yeah.
Being a city task force?
City business can't be done, but anything else goes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I forgot about that.
Didn't know if it was like the post office. Just shut it all down.
They're not the post office, you're the post office.
Okay.
Who are we giving the key to?
I'm going to, I'll be here
You're
to open up.
attending? Okay.
I'm not gonna participate, but
All right.
Be observing.
Monitor.
Well, I will move to adopt a resolution establishing a task force to evaluate the replacement of water mains with filling in as task force appointees Amy Hewlett, John Anderson, Joseph Hagedis, Larry Mahoney, Maureen Siebert, Max Kirschbaum, William Holziak,
There's two more.
Randy LaFoy, and Mary Wingfield. Is that all 9? Did I miss anybody?
That's all I have.
Okay. And then I think we established, okay, so I'll let that be my motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And then do we want to have, establish a liaison to this thing? I don't know if that was in there.
I
Is
am
that
the
you?
liaison.
Okay, so I will move to establish Mayor Arsenault as the liaison to the task force.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, let's move on then to, number 1, discussion and possible approval of the 2026 proposal for assessment services. Thank you again. Did you want to talk about that, Scott?
This is the proposal that had been submitted, I believe, back in April for assessment services.
Is this a change from last year? Is there any, I saw there were a couple of fees called out, but I didn't know if those were any different from what they were in previous years. You don't know,
I
maybe.
don't know that answer.
It didn't look too, it looked like $40 for a house, and we have maybe very small
new house.
increase. Yeah, all right, fine with me, but I've made my share of motions, so.
Can I get a motion then to approve the assessment services for 2026?
I move to accept the assessment services.
The quote for,
Quote 4. Anything else, Alan?
you're the post office.
Can I
Close
get
it
a
down.
second, please?
I'll second.
Oh, sometimes it's helpful to just use the number that's been quoted for that service for the.
Oh, for,
Oh, okay.
would you like to amend your?
Or just tack on.
This number right there.
Thank you. The 63, do I make an amendment for this?
No, just add it on to what
Okay.
you're saying.
I move to approve the assessment year 2026 proposal for assessing services of $6,300
To
To
Pelican.
Chase.
to, oh my God, this is, to Chase Peliquin. There you go.
Very nice.
Thank you, Alan, for the assist.
Can I get a second?
Did you already second before? Otherwise, I will. I'll second.
Okay, Kathy,
What
thank
the
you.
heck?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, discussion and, number 2, discussion and possible approval of Resolution 2025-46, the approving 4th of July activities. That's on page 34 of your packet. So this resolution just looks like the city is responsible for putting up barricades before and after the event, providing an additional porta potty, and that looks like that's about it.
I guess,
I've always had a question about this. Why does the city provide a porta potty when we have a porta potty that's like 2 blocks away?
Because it's 2 blocks away.
So why does the parade just not go another 2 blocks?
you mean Ty Schmidt,
To Ty Schmidt
not the
Park?
village hall.
Wildwood is a very large hill, and we do Wildwood, the parade portion is at the flag there, so the flag
Oh, Flag's right there.
raising portion of the event for the last 47 years has been there, so that's why it's there.
But the porta potty is at Ty Schmidt.
Yes, so we do a one-day porta potty there. It also would have to be emptied anyway, so we're not really out all that much considering.
I
But
was
we
always
just put
curious-
it at Elm.
I was always curious about that. I'm like, isn't there just a
Yeah, it's 2 blocks away and it's up a very large hill, so
I know,
little kids would be, there may be an issue getting that far.
Any other questions?
I just have a couple things I'd like to add to the resolution, if possible, under the resolved section. I'd like to add that the Birchwood Community Club shall obtain comprehensive general liability insurance in the minimum amount of $1 million per occurrence, naming the city of Birchwood Village, its officials, agents, employees, and volunteers as additional insured. And then I'd further like to add, as a condition of the authority to hold the parade, proof of such insurance shall be submitted to the city administrator before the event. And then I would like to add an additional condition that because cities are prohibited from supporting fundraising events, that the community club can collect no donations during the parade or post-parade components of the event.
We cannot have the parade if we do not collect donations at the parade, at the free food table. So we can't afford to run it. It's volunteers, and the money comes from the community that donates there.
So the city has really nothing to do with, so essentially this is a private event. This would be like me having hosting a 5K race through Birchwood.
I'm not opposing the tulip insurance at all. We are in the process of getting that.
No, I'm just,
Okay.
I mean, I haven't lived here for 47 years. I don't really know, Kathy. So, because I moving to Birchwood, it is very confusing what the community club is, and I think a lot of residents think that it is part of the city. I know I did when I moved here. I know a lot of folks think that they're giving their $4 to the city. And so I think there needs to be a clear line between what the community club is and what the city is. So like this, I'm just trying to draw a distinction saying that this would be no different. The parade is no different than Ryan Isley's having a 5K. He's running through the city. I need to go to the city, get permit to do this. Any insurance that I need, I have to also get, and then I have to abide by any laws that the city puts on me. So that's what it is. It's a private event that's in Birchwood.
Well, it's a public-private,
Yeah.
just like your 5K would be.
Yep.
right? You don't know who's going to show up, and the parade's going to attract expats, residents, whatever,
Sure.
like it does every year.
Yep.
So, yeah, but it's a good analogy.
I guess I'm fine with the community club raising donations at the event. I just think in that case, we shouldn't support it with a toilet. It should either move to Ty Schmidt or else, the toilet can be funded by the community club, which is how we've, I think, would treat, like you say, any other outside group.
So I guess that's my question. As the city, like what are we allowed to and not allowed to provide to a private entity getting we're donating something to a private entity. What is the legal ramifications of that?
I think I would look at it a little differently. Scott can certainly chime in with his experience. This is a community event, right?
Sure.
And let's say that the Isley 5K first annual was something that you really solicited Birchwood people to, promote better health, right? So it's a fun 5K. Isley family puts up the prizes, everything else, it organizes everything. But you come to the city and you say, hey, it's likely that a bunch of people are going to turn out, and hopefully this turns into an annual event. And so would you consider supporting it by, not necessarily doing anything other than putting out a porta potty at the finish, just because it's not going to be where, there's convenient services.
I guess to me, this kind of comes down to a freedom of speech type issue, where if let's say Antifa or whatever our favorite Alex Jones is, or whatever our favorite extremist group comes in and says, hey, Birchwood, I want to hold a parade in August, are we going to be set to where we can say, yeah, the community club was fine, we think that's a great group? No, you can't support we're not providing a toilet to you group. Aren't we basically, as a government, deciding and arbitrating between which speech we like and which speech we don't like there?
I'd say
If
those
we-
two are very different things, so.
I guess I don't quite understand how. I agree they're different, but in the government, aren't I choosing between speech I like and speech I don't like?
The statute dictates certain reasons why a city can donate to an organization. So the city can make donations.
Here,
The example here, though, is you look at the number of community members, how this brings forth community, things like that. The difference there is where you have Antifa. That is something that is not your community. That's an outside group that's coming in wanting support. Here, you have a community that is in the, or a group that is in the community. And again, you're bringing out community members that are wanting to attend this, that are active in the parade. That's how that falls within your statutory
so
approval.
I guess I'd be fine with that, but I think then again, we're back to this limitation where cities can't hold fundraisers.
That's a little different, you know, it's, if they're putting out a hand saying, hey, help support this, that's a little bit different than saying, everyone give me $1. So, in my opinion, you know, putting out a porta potty, I consider that to be a public service, no different than calling the sheriff and saying, hey, could you take a couple of extra drives through, there's gonna be a lot of citizens out, so.
But, I mean, cities explicitly can't hold fundraisers. You're saying it's okay for us to support a community group that's holding a fundraiser for itself.
If you mean by support, putting out a porta potty for a.
That's what I mean. Is
parade,
that okay? Can you say that's explicitly okay for the community club to raise donations
At their event?
at their event that is supported by the city with a toilet?
I don't consider a porta potty for the public to be necessarily subsidizing the community club, if that's what your question is.
Okay, so you're, in your opinion,
In
that's
my opinion, yeah,
acceptable?
It's okay for them to say, hey, this whole
Okay.
parade is brought to you by the community club.
Okay,
They're not going around saying, you know, put your money in the envelope, right? I assume it's a voluntary,
it's a voluntary donation. It is,
We'll be going around, just to state, we will be bringing around newsletters and dropping off envelopes because we weren't allowed to put it in the newsletter, which was the statement from last year that was the issue last year.
is,
So we didn't advertise with the city this
So-
year. So we are
so-
walking around personally to
When-
deliver those.
when you say "we," do you mean you and
The
your authority?
Volunteers of the community
community
club will
club.
be walking around,
Okay,
hopefully in the next 2 weeks, because it's very close to July 4th, to try and gather donations beforehand, because right now all the volunteers are fronting the money for this. So I've already paid for things for this parade. So I'm really hopeful we have it, because I don't need several hundred balloons.
What, you don't?
all right, so then, let me restate my motion here. Sorry, Ryan.
No, yeah, I'm not done talking about this yet. So, I'm just trying to clarify this in my own head, Alan. This would be no different than the parades that you see and the firefighters are carrying around the boot to put money in?
That's
it's a little different. 'cause, I
careful.
mean, that's a public,
That's explicitly allowed in statute. That
Okay.
is explicitly allowed, and this is
Firefighters
not.
you can put money in the
You
firefighter's
can,
boot.
you can go find the statute that says there are certain
service.
things that
Okay,
can be
okay.
done.
That is to the Fire Relief Association. That's not actually to the fire department.
So this
or
is
to
different, okay.
the city, correct?
So I guess my only thing is that I don't think there needs to be a distinction that the city is not putting this on. It is the community club that is putting this on. And you are donating to a private entity,
I
yes.
guess I would say we need to be very careful here, because when you say donate, I think that means that's something we can't do. I think what we kind of need to say is, we're serving a public sanitation need.
that's exactly what you're
Yes.
doing.
And
Yeah,
I'm still a
realistically,
little,
you're making it
I'm a
easier
little
on the public.
uncomfortable with this. I'm not sure this is quite as clean as it should be, but I'll go along with it if we can accept it sounded like Kathy, you're fine with the amendment on the insurance. Does that seem okay to you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Do we need to like what you just said, that we're taking care of a city sanitation need, do we basically need to separate this portion out of this and then have some other mechanism to provide I can't believe we're talking about a porta potty this much, number one.
I can't believe we're talking about a free event this much.
No, I mean, Kathy, I understand that, but like,
Like
I
something that's
thought-
been around for kids and families for 74 years, you want to argue about. This is
that's not what I want
ridiculous
to,
use
that's
of
not what I
time.
want to argue about. I want to argue, like, what my point is that there needs to be a distinction made between the community club and the city. Because when I moved to town, and a lot of people I have talked to thought it was the same thing, thought the city was putting on the parade. And people don't understand that when they're donating that money, they think they're donating it to the city, and they're not. And so
No.
I think that is the problem, and I think the parade should always go on, and it needs to go on, and that's not what I'm arguing about. I just think there needs to be a distinction between what the community club is and what the city is.
Can we next year bring this in? Maybe we just need to bring this into the city next year. So, but I don't think that's a topic for tonight.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I love the parade. I think it's a great thing that that is done in the city, but I do think that line needs to be drawn in the sand with it.
It's a little unique, I will say.
Yeah.
So most cities sponsor it and run the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's what, I mean, I think a lot of people think that's what's going on.
and that's up to the community club to make that
Sure.
distinction. I mean, you're doing it right now, right?
Yeah.
The only thing you're authorizing is the procurement of a porta potty for the benefit of the public that's gonna be gathered on your public street, knowing that there's gonna be 74 years worth of tradition
Sure.
and plenty of people who are gonna use it. Beyond that, you're not offering any support to the club or what they're doing.
Sure.
Okay,
We are putting out the barricades as well, though, just to make sure that, and asking the sheriffs to shut down the road as a community group in general. I don't feel we have the authority to shut down so the mayor has typically done that, just to make sure we shut down the road and don't have anyone injured.
all right, so I will move to, in spite of my previous motion, thank you guys for your patience, adopt Resolution 2025-46 approving July 4th activities with the additional resolved clause, as stated earlier. The Birchwood Community Club shall obtain comprehensive general liability insurance in the minimum amount of $1 million per occurrence, naming the city of Birchwood Village, its officials, agents, employees, and volunteers as additional insured. As a condition of the authority to hold the parade, proof of such insurance shall be submitted to the city administrator before the event.
Can you please send that to the city administrator so I can have him send it to the community club email?
Sure.
Okay, can we get a second on that motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, on to number 3, on discussion and possible approval of Resolution 2025-47, rink boards and posts, donated by Barton Winter. It's found on 35 of your packet. Any questions about the resolution?
I did amend it slightly, if you've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It looks fine.
That's good now.
Thank you, Barton.
Yes, exactly.
Barton is very generous.
I'm a little surprised he was on the agenda, but not me.
I'm sure he'll be at the Parks meeting next week.
Can I get a motion then to approve the resolution 2025-47, the acceptance of a donation from Barton Winter in the value of $1,775?
So moved.
A second?
Kathy?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Again, thank you, Barton. We appreciate your generosity. On to number 4, discussion and possible approval of Resolution 2025-48, salary reallocation for City Hall supplies and computer software. Any questions about the resolution?
So I just want to make sure that I am foregoing my salary. Like, I don't want this is me, I'm still getting a W-2, this is $0, or,
So I can,
Salary.
I can tell you, I've done this the past 2 years, forgone my salary, and I've not received a W-2.
Okay.
And Marcia, I assume will do it the same way for you. I told her to stick it to you, but,
Yeah.
that's how it's worked for me in any case.
If they don't issue the check, you don't get the W-2
Okay, perfect, perfect. That was my only question.
Okay,
or 1099 or whatever they give you.
can I get a motion then to pass Resolution 2025-48, salary reallocation?
It's your money. Do you want to do the motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Number 5, discussion and possible approval of Resolution 2025-49, approving acceptance of donation.
I move to, this is Ryan Isley donating some monitors, so do you want to do it again? Otherwise, let's just do it and get out of here. I move to adopt Resolution 2025-48, salary reallocation for City Hall supplies / computer software.
We did that one. We're doing
Oh, I
49
move
now.
to,
Page 42.
I move to adopt Resolution 2025-49, approving acceptance of donation relating to Mr. Isley's computer monitors. Wow, we're ahead of where I thought.
Can I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We're on to city council updates. Does anybody have anything they'd like to talk about?
I do. The community club has been approved to do our parade. We are in desperate need of volunteers. We are short several individuals who will be traveling because it is a long weekend. So if you are available and can help, we need help in all aspects. Please reach out to the community club. Their email address is... One moment. communityclubbirchwood@gmail.com. To volunteer, even if you have volunteered in previous years, please do email that so we can confirm individuals who will be there. And then other announcement, there's a bear in the neighborhood again. If you have not noticed your various messages for, I think it was a text message or a email that went out, I don't remember which, today. Take down your bird feeders again. Again, the DNR cannot remove or relocate bears, so don't let out your little pets and remove your bird feeders.
Can we go back to the parade? What are some of the tasks that you need help with?
We need individuals to put up the banners the night before. We need people to help at the tables handing out all the free food. We have kids' games like the tug of war and the sack race and the three-legged race that we need some help with that. The community club specifically wanted to ask you if you'll be the MC. So there are a variety of jobs also helping move those barricades after the parade is done, bringing items back to the city hall for carrying, et cetera. And then handing out balloons is another one. There's a lot of people who do multiple things throughout the whole day.
And is the parade, not the parade, the band scheduled to go?
The
Go
band
okay with
is
that?
going to be playing again. That individual who is running that is Michael Lean. If you have your newsletter that had gone out, he had put his email address in there. If you are interested in playing with the community band, they start their rehearsal at 9 a.m. It's over by Birchwood Avenue, at 5 Birchwood Avenue is where they start practicing in the morning at 9 a.m. Parade again will start at 10 a.m. like normal, so all the little kids come with your decorated bikes to be in the parade. Do you want Michael's email address too for the?
Might as well give it.
Sure. It's Michael dot lean, that's LIEN09 @gmail.com.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure people know
Yeah.
what's available for them to do.
Oh, lots.
All right, anything else? Any other updates? No? Okay. Mr. Hildebrand, do you have anything else to add?
No.
We're all set? Okay, thank you. Parade's upcoming. Do we have anything else that's coming up in the near future?
Oh, I did want to ask, I'm assuming no one else wants to jump on this, but the annual deer hunt will be coming up, so activity for that would be starting in July, if anyone else wanted to jump on that one, otherwise I'll do it again. This is the last year of our contract. Or the current contract, I guess I should say.
All right, anything else? Okay, hearing none. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. We're adjourned.
55 minutes.
Thank you, Chris.